Some stories invite us to look beyond ourselves, to remember that joy has no boundaries and cannot be stopped. Meet the Batwa, a people who embody that spirit. A growing connection between one inspiring leader in Burundi, a cycle of committed friends across the globe, the strength of 3 villages, and the experience of one young woman demonstrates what becomes possible when dreams are nurtured by the power of friendship. Let's go to Burundi and see how beautiful the world can be. Marie was born in the country of Burundi. Her parents were indigenous people called Batwa. Marie's parents had grown up in the rainforests, living as hunters and gatherers, until they were forced out with no place to go. They ended up on barren land along with other Batwa people who had been evicted from the forests. They were despised by others and tragically some were enslaved. They lacked skills for surviving outside the forest, but they chose to stay together. When Marie was born, she wasn't issued a birth certificate because her parents had no legal identity. She could not attend school or even access medical care when sick. She grew up as though she was invisible. Her parents worked long, hot days in the neighbors' fields. They were paid with a small portion of beans, barely enough to feed Marie and her sisters. As soon as Marie was old enough, she joined her parents working for beans. Though they had no legal identification and they lived in poverty, Marie's people never forgot who they were. They were the oldest people group in the region. They were the people who were artists, using their hands to make pots out of earth and clay. And they were the people who knew how to dance like no other. Dancing kept them alive. They danced when a baby was born and when someone died. They danced when they were hungry and when the rains fell. They always danced when guests came to visit. Though life went on with little hope of change, they never stopped dancing. When Marie was 17, she met Oscar, a Batwa boy from a nearby village. They fell in love. Without government ID, they could not legally marry, but they chose each other and began their own family. They gathered branches and banana leaves and constructed a small hut like others in their hillside village. In another part of Burundi, a young Batwa man named Evariste was growing up. Evariste had a mama who refused to be held back by the prejudice of others. She saw something unique in her son and she committed to fight for him. She gave her all to see Evariste attend school. He faced stigma and hardship, but he excelled. 1 year at a time, they found a way to keep Evariste in school. With the help of kind friends and with a lot of hard work, he completed secondary school and went on to study law. Evariste became the second Batwa in the history of Burundi to graduate from university. In 2010, Evariste started his own organization to help other Batwa. 4 years later, African Road, a non-profit in Oregon, came alongside Evariste in friendship to listen, to learn, and to begin working together. In 2015, Evariste introduced Friends of African Road to Marie and the people of her village with these words: I have not brought you beans and rice, but I have brought you friends. And with friends, many things become possible. Marie did not know what to think when she heard the words of Evariste, but the new friend listened to Evariste's word and understood their potential. They recognized the great need as well as the strength with Marie and her people. They returned to their community in Oregon with the stories and an urgent appeal for respectful assistance and committed partnership. In response, their community made a long-term commitment to join African Road and Everest, to learn and grow together in support of Marie's village and two more nearby Batwa villages. The first of their efforts was funding to provide identity cards, birth certificates, legal marriage rights, access to education, and medical care for each person in the 3 villages. Everest and his team called this project ID Kids. Now, Marie, Oscar, and their children had an identity recognized by the government, a chance to finally belong and exist within society. Now, they could access resources and opportunities that were previously unreachable. The next step was to address extreme hunger and remove roadblocks to children being in school. Powered by friendship and connection, funds were raised to equip people to farm and grow food for themselves. For the first time ever, each family in the 3 villages could feed their children and send them to school. As progress was made, the Batwa danced in joyous expression of hope and the promise of a bright future. And dance was evolving, a testament to their dignity, a celebration of their progress, and an invitation for others to join. Over 8 years, the collaboration and connection between African Road and the Batwa communities in Burundi flourished. More and more people joined in, offering support and sharing resources. The purchase of farmland, more children enrolled in school, medical insurance for all became possible. Remarkable changes were happening in the villages. Fewer mothers died in childbirth, and children no longer suffered from preventable conditions. As school attendance brought children from all tribes together, neighbors began to welcome the Batwa in friendship. These were historic changes. Sadly, during this time, Marie's village was struck by a flood and landslide. But the friendship between the global community stood firm. Support came for recovery, demonstrating the bonds they formed were strong. In place of grass huts, 17 brick houses were built, a sign of hope and stability. As the villages have grown, so too has the leadership of Everest and his team called Asijiba. Their accomplishments provide inspiration to others, proving that being Batwa doesn't mean you are limited to life on the outskirts of society. They have become valued members of their community and country. By 2023, African Road and Everest brought life-changing ID kits to 7,000 Batwa people, clearing the way for progress. There are about 120,000 Batwa people in Burundi. Everest dreams of seeing each one legally recognized and free to flourish. In Marie's village, hunger and despair are now a memory, and the energy and ability to look forward is tangible. The people are ready to expand their farming, learn vocational skills, and start small businesses. Marie's village provides a model for the future of the Batwa people of Burundi. Thoughtful, committed partnership and funding, guided by indigenous leaders, can equip people to lift up themselves and others. What started as a meeting between friends has evolved into a testament of what can happen when people come together to link arms in partnership and growing connection. When we nurture friendship, what is already beautiful but not yet visible can thrive. This kind of story changes all of us for the better. It continues to unfold and flourish, and you are invited to the next chapter. The Batwa are still dancing. Will you join the dance?